Hey, I'm Jonas.
Hi, I'm Jackie.
And we want to welcome you to another Wednesday Night Live with 15minute Fitness. So tonight we're really excited to bring you the first part of our three-part training on metabolism. We did a metabolism episode last month.
In March.
Yeah, and the reaction was outstanding. You guys really wanted to know more and to dig deeper into it. So that's what we're going to do over the next three trainings. We're going to really unpack what is a broken metabolism, what are the effects of it, and then we will look at what are the causes of it, and finally we'll look at how do you know if you have it and what can you do about it if you do. All right? Sound good?
Sounds great.
Sound exciting? So being 15minute Fitness, we do 15-minute workouts, we do 15-minute meal prep, so we should do 15-minute videos, right? It only makes sense. So we're going to try to keep each one of these to about 15 minutes, so you know what to expect. I tend to get long-winded on things, and Jackie will have to nudge me a little bit, but this is my passion, and I really want to share it with you guys, because goodness, we find so many people in this predicament, right?
A lot of clients come to us with their metabolism broken and in the tank.
Sure enough. All right, so we've got some questions. Do you feel tired all the time?
Do you feel hungry all the time?
Do you feel like other people can eat a whole lot more than you can and not gain weight?
Do you feel like no matter how much you diet and how much you exercise, you just can't make yourself lose weight?
Well, look, you guys, those are real things, and they are clearly documented in the scientific literature. We have a lot of evidence on metabolism. There's been a lot of really good research over the last 5 or 10 years, actually stemming back to the 1940s, believe it or not. And we're going to try to bring you some of the fruits of those scientific studies. So, okay, the first thing we should probably clarify, all right, we need to make some distinctions and agree on terms, okay? Because it doesn't make any sense to begin a conversation, to begin a lecture, begin any sort of teaching, any sort of dialogue, if we don't agree on the terms, if we don't have terms and definitions nailed down. And it's especially important when we're dealing with metabolism, because that's kind of a nebulous term, right? I was messaging. I was in a series of messages with my sister, Diana. My sister lives in Florida. She's a lawyer in Florida, very well educated, probably smarter than I am, and like 99% of people in Western industrial culture, she struggles with her weight. So we were having a long conversation through Facebook Messenger, and all of a sudden, a message just appears from her. What even is metabolism? And it kind of struck me that we'd been using this term all through our messaging back and forth, and she didn't really even have a good idea of what we were talking about, right? So what is metabolism? That's a fair question. Is it just some general vague term that nobody really knows? No, actually, metabolism, it is a very general term, but it refers to all of the functions and bodily processes by which we convert food energy, the energy that we take in through our nutrition plan, into usable energy that the body can use. And also the disposition of that energy. What do we do with it? Do we actually burn it? Do we store it? Okay? So that's what metabolism refers to. And yes, there are many systems and bodily processes involved in the conversion of food energy into usable energy. All kinds of systems. And there's a very fine, delicate balance. But that's what we're referring to when we talk about metabolism. So, look, what are the components of metabolism?
Before we go there, I want to make very clear that when we say your metabolism is broken or in the tank, that these aren't the scientific terms for what's going on.
Right.
Scientifically, we would call this an adapted metabolism. All right, it means that your body has adapted to its situation. We have very adaptive bodies. God created us very well. It is not permanent.
Right, and we really need to make that distinction because this was a huge contention in the scientific literature from about 2015 to 2019 or so. There was a big uproar. Can you permanently damage your metabolism? Can you break your metabolism? After yo-yo dieting so many times, can you never have a healthy metabolism again? And the answer is clearly and unequivocally no. You cannot permanently damage your metabolism. So that's the good news. Even if your metabolism is in the tank, crashed, broken, damaged, however you want to talk about it, that's a temporary and very fixable condition, okay? That's very important. I don't want any scientific nerds out there accusing me of saying something I'm not. You cannot permanently break your metabolism. Like Jackie alluded to, the scientific terminology is thermogenic adaptation, okay? Metabolic adaptation. Your metabolism can downregulate and will downregulate as a result of prolonged dieting. But it doesn't break permanently, okay? All right. So again, metabolism has tons of research behind it, and we have mathematically quantified the components of a metabolism. So what are the components, Ms. Math Wizard?
You have your intentional activity, which is what a lot of us think about. How much do I exercise throughout the day? You have your basal metabolic rate. That's the amount of calories you burn while you sleep. It's the amount of calories you burn sitting on the sofa just watching TV.
If you were in a coma, that's
yes,
how many calories
that's how many
burn.
calories you would burn. You have your thermogenic effect of food. So when you eat, your body breaks all that down and it uses calories. It uses energy to do that. You also have NEAT.
What is NEAT? What are those things you're doing with your hands?
NEAT is your the movements you make when you're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's your fidgeting, tapping your fingers, tapping your foot, things like that you just kind of do, and it's unintentional.
Any activity that's not intentional. It's technically non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So using my hands when I talk, bobbing my head to music, fidgeting around, rocking my leg while I'm watching TV, something like that. Okay, all of those are components to energy expenditure, right? And guess what? All of those downregulate when you go into a diet, when you go into a caloric deficit. Each one of those components downregulates. Your basal metabolic rate slows, okay? You're eating less food, therefore you're using less energy to digest that food. So your thermic effect of food goes down. Your intentional activity, you can keep up. You can keep working out, okay? But your non-exercise activity, the fidgeting and everything, it slows down and starts to go away. It lessens. Your central nervous system regulates that, and it makes you very efficient in your movements. And all that fidgeting and stuff lessens as your calories go down. Okay, so your body is a remarkably adaptive machine, right? Is an evolutionary wonder, right? That God created, and He created it for survival. Okay, so these are all just ways that we can adapt to an environment that's uncertain, where we don't know if we're going to eat again soon, right? If we're hunter-gatherers and we eat very infrequently. Anyway, we have an adaptive metabolism that downregulates in the presence of less food than we're used to, okay? When it downregulates enough, we can call that a broken metabolism or starvation mode. But what we're really talking about is a downregulated adaptive metabolism, all right? What are some of the effects of that?
Well, most of the effects are hormonal. There are other effects you're going to notice. You are going to be very fatigued. However, as fatigued as you are, you may have trouble sleeping.
Yeah, imagine that. You get the worst of both worlds. You're tired all the time and you have trouble sleeping, all right? The specific hormones that are really tied to metabolic adaptation and downregulation, leptin and ghrelin, which are your hunger signalers, all right? So you're going to be hangry, all right? So increased hunger.
It's you all the time.
I just like to eat. Testosterone and estrogen gets imbalanced, okay? And ladies, you too make testosterone. And guys, you too make estrogen. So when those two things get out of whack, so what normally happens is estrogen levels will rise relative to testosterone. So it becomes very easy to store adipose tissue and very hard to spare and preserve muscle tissue. So in the presence of that poisonous hormonal cocktail, you are very likely to lose muscle and store fat, which is the worst, again, the worst of both worlds. All right, so you have difficulty losing fat and you tend to lose muscle. Also, your thyroid hormone levels decline. It's part of the downregulation of your basal metabolic rate. All right, that slows the entire process. Your thyroid hormone really regulates the speed of your metabolism. It's crucial. It's integral. Those levels will, depending on how long you diet and how drastic your calorie deficit is, your thyroid levels will reduce. Okay, probably to clinically depressed conditions. All right, and your cortisol levels increase. You've experienced cortisol level increases. How did that affect you?
I was not able to lose weight while my cortisol was high. Mm-hmm. Mine was very high, almost at the point of having to go on to medication. We had some very difficult life events happen. And the doctor was very clear that I either bring it down or we go on medication.
Cortisol is your stress hormone, okay? It's directly correlated to the stressors that you are perceiving, bodily and mental, okay? So some of the effects of cortisol, some of the side effects of elevated cortisol levels are, well, once again, you tend to catabolize muscle tissue, which means breaking down muscle tissue. You tend to retain water, which if you're having trouble losing weight at bottom level calories, it's very likely you're retaining a lot of water due to high cortisol, and you just feel stressed. You feel stressed all the time. All right. So some other things that tie into that are, with women, menstrual cycle impairment. Okay, so you're no longer regular as you were, and for guys, this poisonous hormonal cocktail can seriously impair sexual functioning. All right, we'll leave it at that. But it's a thing. It's all tied into that hormone, that poisonous hormonal cocktail that a deeply adapted, down-regulated metabolism, a broken metabolism, crash metabolism, brings to the table. All right, and also because your BMR is lower, your thermic effective food is lower, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis is lower, you have a lower maintenance calorie level now. You cannot eat as much food as you could before without getting fat. You are painted into a corner of no hope, no return, pure despair, right? Look, we know this is common. I'm curious, if this is you, if you've recognized any of these symptoms or had any of these problems, just let us know. Comment me down in the comments. Let us know that, you're not alone. First of all, know that you're not alone. Many, if not most of our clients come to us in this sort of situation. And that's why in our program, we build in a metabolic priming phase, just to make sure that a metabolism gets healed before we stress it further. And dieting is a stress. Dieting is a stress, make no mistake. Dieting to lose weight is a stressor for sure. So make sure and let us know.
All right, and the next time you join us, we will talk about the 3 main causes of a adapted metabolism.
We're using our terms very, very precisely here. There is no such thing as permanent damage. It can be alleviated, but a very down-regulated, adapted metabolism, adapted to low-calorie levels, is a poisonous cocktail. There's nowhere to go from there before you heal. You've got to take time out and heal it. And yeah, so first thing we need to do before we can even get there is figure out the causes. And in our next episode, we will talk to you about what causes a down-regulated metabolism, causes you to go in starvation mode, okay? Scare quotes here, because once again, another distinction, okay? There is there's misinformation out there about what starvation mode is, okay? People use the term loosely, and we are too, okay? There's no such thing, honestly, as starvation mode. There's no point at which you cannot lose weight at all, okay? A body, if it does not take in enough calories, will wither away and die, period. It's not like you can eat 0 calories and maintain. So starvation mode is kind of an idea. What we're really referring to is adaptive thermogenesis, a metabolism that is so downregulated that it just seems like you've hit a wall. Your life sucks and you can't lose weight anymore, okay? That about cover lesson one?
Lesson 1.
All right, you guys. Sorry for getting long-winded. Again, this is my passion. I love talking about all things health and fitness, but metabolism especially, because this is the fundamental pin in any sort of fat loss or muscle gain program. You must get your metabolism in line before you can even hope to see any progress, okay? Once you get your metabolism humming and in line with your goals, all of a sudden things become very easy, all right? So that's what we're aiming for. We want to work smarter, not harder, and we want to make fitness fit into your life. All right. We love y'all. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you again next time for part 2, the causes of metabolic damage.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.